I and 99 other people are accidentally pulled into a dangerous survival game called the Broke Game. The winner wins a $1 million prize. But the rules are very strict. You have to survive for 7 days with just $50. If you were me, how would you survive? As a professional pauper, I immediately saw the rules and understood the game's loophole. Then the electronic voice of the system rang out. 100 players are welcome to the Broke Game. Initial funds, $50. The objective, survive for 7 days. The winner will receive a $1 million prize. Spending too much, dying, or leaving the game zone will result in elimination and a $1 million debt. The voice paused briefly, as if mocking. Now, does any coward want to quit? Are you kidding? I can survive 7 days on just water. A fat guy standing next to me, wearing a cheap t-shirt, said, "For $50 you can get a bun and pickles. If you spend carefully, you'll win big, or else go home. Bet small and win big." Only a fool would quit. A different kind of frenzy and excitement swept through the crowd. Excellent. All 100 players are involved. Game rules now apply. There's no way out. Welcome to Airport Smuggle. Good luck. Suddenly, a white light flashed, and I found myself standing in a huge, modern airport. The place was so vast, it seemed to have no end. Crowds were rushing everywhere, and it was impossible to tell who was a player and who was an NPC. My game account showed $50 as initial funds. My interface flashed 3 times. Hunger, thirst, and energy were all full. I saw a convenience store and went in to check the prices. As I approached the fridge, I heard a cry. "Your bottle of water costs $15. This is sheer robbery." I went closer and scanned the shelves. My heart sank. Cupcakes were $50, sandwiches were $40, and buns were $10 each. Even the cheapest pack of soda crackers was $18. With a daily budget of about $10, I couldn't even afford half a bottle of water. The fat guy looked at me, his face clearly showing disappointment. "Player 66, we're done. This money will only buy 3 bottles of water. People will die in a week." I sighed. The system isn't running a charity. I knew it wouldn't be that easy. The other players started entering the store, and fear and panic were all on their faces. The fat guy pulled me aside. "Player 66, my name is Wade. Player 44, let's form a team. If anyone troubles you, I'll take care of it." He demonstrated some martial arts moves in the air, and he was quite agile for his size. But I didn't want to form a team with anyone until I understood the rules of the game. I politely declined and left the store alone. My first priority was to find free water. Outside the washroom, I spotted a water dispenser, and next to it were 2 discarded plastic bottles. I washed them thoroughly and filled them. Water was secured, and the cost was $0. The next task was to find energy. I spotted a coffee shop. Sugar packets, creamer cups, and brown sugar were neatly arranged on the counter. Sugar is a major source of energy. In an emergency, these packets can prevent low blood sugar. I went in with a completely unfamiliar face and began picking up the items as casually as if I were at home. Within 2 seconds, a dozen sugar packets and some creamer cups were in my pocket. I calmly exited the coffee shop, went to an empty corner, tore open 2 packets, and put them straight into my mouth. The sweetness exploded on my tongue, and for a moment, I felt relieved. Sugar was also arranged, and a $100,000 was spent. The airport air conditioning was running like an icebox. Perhaps the system had done this intentionally. The colder it gets, the faster our energy burns. My thin clothes were nothing against the cold. I had to keep moving, to keep warm. I rummaged through a trash can and found a blanket a passenger had discarded after their flight. As time passed, my hunger grew. By 8 p.m., I strolled past a bakery. The bread behind the glass display smelled overwhelming. My stomach started rumbling. The sharp eyes of a seasoned poor person told me that there should be a discount on bread by now. The toast that used to cost $30 had now dropped to just $15. But that wasn't enough. The discount might drop even further when the store closed, maybe even get it for free. Every $1 saved is a chance to survive. I sat on a bench in front of the bakery, half closed my eyes, and rested. Suddenly, 20 to 30 people from all directions rushed madly towards the bakery. The small doorway became a battlefield. In the chaos, I saw some waving cash, while others simply snatched bread from the shelves. The panicked clerk yelled, "Stand in line! Stand in line!" But it was all in vain. Within minutes, all the discounted items were sold out, even the toast I had my eye on. Those who got the bread had a look of relief on their faces, as if they had escaped death. Those who didn't were beating their chests, their eyes filled with despair. The air echoed with the curses, complaints, and helpless sighs of the other players. My hunger meter had dropped to 30%. I took a deep breath and tried to suppress the pangs in my stomach. I looked away from the commotion and looked at the huge flight information display board overhead. Flight statuses were scrolling in red. Now was the time to show my true potential. Players can roam freely anywhere at this airport. You can even access the gates without a boarding pass. I scanned the board, and my eyes settled on a few flights highlighted in deep red. Only flights delayed by more than 6 hours were my target. I dragged my weakening legs toward a boarding gate. It was already crowded, and the atmosphere was filled with anger and tension. The flight at gates 1 and 2 was 8 hours late, and stranded passengers surrounded the gate agent. The agent was a young woman whose face was red with anger, and her cheeks were splattered with the passengers' spittle as they shouted at her, "Is your airline completely useless? My child is crying from hunger. Will you do something? We must leave. Pay me right now." There was a whole scene, and the girl's voice was drowned in the noise. She was just about to cry. Then suddenly, I realized, this is my chance. I mustered all my strength and broke through the crowd and stood directly in front of the agent. "Calm down!" I roared with all my might. The crowd suddenly fell silent. Everyone was stunned by my shout. I pointed to the mother whose child was crying and shouted loudly for every passenger to hear, "Look at this child crying!" Will shouting here make the plane take off? The airline is at fault, and they must take responsibility. But what do we need most right now? Food, a place to rest, and the strength to fight them to the end. I turned to the broken agent and sharply said, "People are losing their temper. The most important thing is to calm them down. Start distributing meal vouchers and hotel vouchers right now. Feed everyone and settle them down. Otherwise, this will escalate. Can you handle this?" I told her repeatedly, "I can distribute these vouchers." The agent cried, "They don't want them. Everyone has to stand in line and show their boarding passes. Only then will they get them." At this time, you're talking about procedures. I interrupted her and pointed to the mother. Look how tired this mother is. She's been carrying her child in her arms for 8 hours. And now, will she stand in line for your voucher? I turned to her and said, "Madam, give me your boarding pass. I'll get it for you." I held out my hand with full authority. She looked at me like a drowning man clutching at a straw and immediately placed her pass in my hand. As soon as one person started, the effect was immediate. Others, including the elderly, children, or those simply exhausted, also started offering their boarding passes to me. Within seconds, I had more than a dozen passes in my hand. I turned to the agent, extended my passes to her, and lowered my voice. "Hurry up. Finish the most important ones first. Better than being on the news, isn't it? Hurry up. Hand me 2 extra meal vouchers quietly, and I'll calm the parents with children. Everyone will find a way out." The agent looked at me gratefully and began pounding away at the machine. She pulled out a bundle of vouchers, counted them against the boarding pass I'd given her, then discreetly added 2 extra vouchers and handed me the entire bundle. Her eyes were thanking me. I understood. My heart was pounding, but I maintained a calm expression. "Ma'am, take this and take your child and go eat. Sir, here's yours." I quickly began distributing the correct vouchers and boarding passes. Finally, I tucked the 2 extra vouchers into my innermost pocket. I yelled to Bay, "Go and get your vouchers. Eat, rest, and save your energy. We'll settle the bill later." As everyone's attention turned to the vouchers, I slid away like a fish and disappeared into the terminal corridors. To survive in this game, Al, you have to find loopholes better than anyone else. As soon as I left the lounge, I found a bed again. He smiled innocently. "Player Chasset, I saw what you did there. You were negotiating like a movie boss. Are you really not thinking about teaming up with us? You might need the others' help later. Do you understand?" In just one day, 4 more players had joined him. I declined his offer again. With the help of those meal vouchers, I ate my fill. My hunger meter was now full. But fatigue was washing over me like a wave. My energy meter had dropped below 50%. It was 11 p.m. The airport crowds had thinned considerably. Most shops were closing and the lights were dimming. A strange and unfamiliar dread began to spread throughout. Every bench in the terminal had armrests to prevent anyone from lying down. Perhaps a young player, who couldn't bear it anymore, had done it. He wrapped himself in a thin jacket and curled up on the floor to sleep. Less than 2 minutes later, a bright light shone directly on his face. "Get up! No lying down here." The security guard's voice was flat and lifeless. The player ignored the NPC, turned over, and continued sleeping. Suddenly, a group of guards came running from around the corner. Without a word, they dragged him away and threw him out the airport gates. The public screen flashed. "Player, you have been eliminated for leaving the game zone. A debt of $1 million. Several other players were being eliminated in similar fashion from different corners. The system was using fatigue and cold to dull our sanity. My energy meter had already dropped to the critical point. To avoid elimination, I covered myself with that old blanket and fell asleep sitting on the terminal chair. The next morning, the sunlight revealed that only a day had passed. My energy meter had barely reached 75%, but hunger had returned to 50%. I still had a meal voucher left, so I wasn't too worried. I drank some cold water, ate 2 sugar packets, and headed back to the departure hall, looking for prey. Suddenly, a player pounced on a child and snatched his hot dog. The child burst into tears. Hearing the commotion, guards arrived, AP surrounded the player, and put him in a police car parked outside the airport. The system's broadcast echoed again. Player 25 snatched food from an NPC. Security escorted him out of the airport. Debt eliminated. $1 million. I'd learned a big lesson. You can't do anything at this airport that would trigger a security alert. But today, the airport was different. Not a single flight was delayed. I thought perhaps the system had closed the loophole I'd taken advantage of. I spent the entire day strolling through the halls like a normal traveler, visiting every store that offered free samples. Of course, I only ate. I didn't buy anything. I'd taste the samples, watching the clerk's face, and the moment they got suspicious, I'd leave. That's how I spent the evening. I used my last meal voucher for dinner and refilled my hunger meter. My energy was even lower today than yesterday. This time, I didn't compromise my chair. I entered a dark side corridor where I'd previously discovered a treasure. An old utility room with a slightly ajar door. It was filled with junk inside. But once I closed the door, it became my own little private world. Just as I stepped into the room and was about to close it, there was a crash. Someone kicked the door open. Inside entered a tall, slanted boy with squinted eyes, flanked by 2 thugs. "Get out! This place is ours now." The tall boy yelled at me. I recognized him. Yesterday, he'd been the most feared man near the bakery. He'd even snatched bread from 2 other players, knowing I couldn't fight him. I decided to leave that wonderful place. As I reached the door, the tall guy suddenly pulled out a knife. "Hand me everything you have, or I'll kill you right here." The madness and ruthlessness in his eyes told me he was going to do it. My mind raced. Should I retaliate? There was no chance. Should I give up? That meant elimination and a $1 million debt. What should I do? What should I do? I swallowed Oshok's spit and said, "Sir, listen, robbing will catch you and you'll be eliminated. Shut up, hurry up. I have no patience." The fruit knife came closer to my neck. I gave up and, without thinking, transferred the entire $50 from my account to him. The only hope I had was to stay alive in the game. They all took their share and pushed me out. The door slammed shut. Their arrogant voices echoed from inside. Robbing really worked. Thankfully, he told us that stealing cash doesn't lead to elimination. We don't have to worry about money anymore. After all, who is he talking about? Robbing NPCs is forbidden, but robbing or killing a player is also permissible. Who knows the rules of this game so intimately? It's only the 2nd day, and I've lost my last $50. No money, no food. Should I just wait to die? Just then, an anonymous post flashed on the public screen. "Come to the bakery on level 3, section A. Bread is available at half price." The utility room door opened. The tall guy and his companions emerged. I quickly hid and followed them stealthily to the convenience store. The 3 of them blew all the stolen cash on soda crackers. The system broadcast echoed as payment confirmation sounded. Players 5, Viso, 49, and 61 are eliminated for overspending. $1 million debt. The tall boy screamed loudly. Before his voice had even fully died down, his entire body vanished into thin air like a streak of light. The 2 thugs vanished as well. Dozens of packets of soda crackers and bags of charred bread fell to the floor. I immediately rushed over there, took off my jacket, and packed all the crackers and bread into it. I was right. The system said that overspending would result in elimination, but each player only has $50. How could anyone spend more? The only answer was to steal another player's money, and spending more than $50 is considered overspending. But that tall boy had stolen bread from the bakery and wasn't eliminated, which means stealing food isn't against the rules. I suspect more people will realize this in the coming days and will start killing each other for food. So I have to hide this food well. With this ration, I can definitely survive to the end. I found 5 places I thought were safe and distributed packets of crackers there, hiding them, 1 for each day, and that way I could get through the remaining 5 days. By the time I finished, my energy was at its lowest point again. Soon, I fell asleep again on a chair in the terminal. Day 3 of the game begins. A heartbreaking cough nearby drew everyone's attention. It was player 47, a frail-looking girl. She was huddled on the icy metal bench. Her body was shaking violently. Her face was red from coughing, and she had a high fever. Her boyfriend, also a player, glared at her with hatred. "What's wrong with you? Do you have a fever? Don't you dare die before the 7th day?" Player 47's voice was hoarse and weak. "I'm suddenly very cold. I am in so much pain. Aaron, can you hold me, please?" "No way. What if it happens to me too?" Then, suddenly, without any warning, a deafening alarm reverberated throughout the terminal. The sound of heavy, synchronized footsteps echoed from a distant corridor. Quarantine officers in white hazmat suits effortlessly lifted player 47. "Let go of me! I don't want to be eliminated! Aaron, help me! Save me!" But Aaron didn't even look at her. He simply turned and ran. The quarantine officers ignored her screams and carried the stretcher away, while the other players watched in horror. They hid in the corridor. Seconds later, the system broadcast, "Player 47 is a serious threat to public health, forcibly removed from the game zone for quarantine, eliminated for $1 million debt. Player 87 is a serious threat to public health, forcibly removed from the game zone for quarantine, eliminated for $1 million debt." The players looked at each other suspiciously. Player 87 had eaten food from the trash can yesterday. Today, he had severe diarrhea. If he had a cold, he was out. If he had an upset stomach, he was out. Now, who would be next? Even the slightest cough or throat clearing made everyone's heart race. I learned another rule. You can't get sick. Even a simple cold or stomach upset would get you out of the game zone. I got through the day eating the bread and crackers I'd saved. The airport was even colder today, like an icebox. I found a thermal emergency blanket in the trash, often used by hackers. After covering myself with it, I finally felt a little warm. Day 4 began with even more eliminations. I woke up early and decided to get my share of bread and crackers. I cautiously avoided the crowds and headed for my first stop, a corner between a large flower pot and a wall behind a distant washroom. I approached, bent down, and put my hand in that familiar space. There was nothing there. My heart sank. Unsure, I searched harder. Not a single piece of cracker wrapper was left. I didn't waste time and ran to the next location. There was nothing there either. All 4 locations had been completely cleared. Dozens of bags that had ensured my victory had vanished overnight without a trace. My winning game had been completely overturned. Finding every location and quietly emptying them in a single night was something no ordinary player could do. After all, who was watching me all the time? My courage had completely broken. I again shamelessly searched for free samples, but now more players were doing the same. The shopkeepers had seen everything and hidden all the samples. Even the coffee shop counter was empty. All the sugar packets were now behind locks. The garbage bins had become battlefields. Many players, despite the risk of diarrhea, were searching for food in them. By the time I reached there, not a single grain was left. I spent the night like this until 10 p.m., and now all my meters were flashing red. I staggered towards the airport's luxury shopping alley. Other players nearby began whispering, "What would he do in a luxury store?" I picked up some discarded bags and empty containers from a trash can a short distance away. Many travelers leave their luggage there before leaving to avoid customs duty. I carefully put the containers in the best-looking bag and grabbed it. The day before, while I was exploring the first floor of the departure hall, I had spotted something amazing. A hot pot restaurant had opened downstairs. So, I'm heading there now to get a free rest and some food. I pushed open the heavy glass door. Inside, I was greeted by warmth and the Saudi aroma of beef soup. A waitress approached with a sweet smile. "Welcome, sir. How many people are there? Give it to me." I placed the shiny luxury bag gracefully on the chair next to me and, with a slight hesitation in my voice, said, "Give me a quiet place. I'm waiting for someone." Her eyes fell on the bag in my hand and her smile deepened. "Yes, sir. Please come this way." It was impossible for some ordinary pauper to afford such expensive items. She led me to a semi-private booth with cushioned sofas and plenty of privacy. As soon as I sat down, I took out my phone and began pacing my fingers. I dialed a number that didn't exist. As soon as the call connected, my tearful voice echoed through the quiet area. "I'm waiting for you at the airport hot pot restaurant. I've taken a 3 p.m. flight to Paris. If you don't come, you'll never see me again in this life." I slammed the phone down on the table. My eyes immediately filled with tears. The waitress immediately brought a bowl of hot soup and a small plate of fruit and spoke sympathetically. "Sir, please calm down. Have something to drink first. Has your girlfriend bothered you?" My voice was hoarse. "Thank you," I said. "But I can't eat anything thinking about who she's with." The waitress placed the bowl in front of me. "The more upset you are, the more you should eat. Otherwise, where will you find the strength to make her regret it for the rest of her life?" I nodded. I picked up the bowl and slowly sipped. The hot, sweet liquid slid down my dry throat. A storm of hunger raged within me, but this time, I had to control myself. Soon, she brought another free bowl. This time, it contained Steam Deck. I helplessly went to the containment counter and scooped out 3 tablespoons of beef crumbles and poured them over the eggs. Returning to my seat, I suppressed the urge to eat like crazy and began taking small bites with great grace. While my eyes followed the waitress and manager, the waitress was watching me like a radar. "Sir, if you're feeling down, why don't you try our new tomato soup? The sweet and sour taste will awaken your appetite." A mouth-watering bowl of tomato soup appeared in front of me. "I'll get you some snacks." A free plate of fries arrived immediately. The waitress approached me again. Her eyes were filled with curiosity and sympathy. It was clear she was more anxious than I was. Alarm bells went off in my mind. She was asking too many questions. I quickly shifted gears. My eyes filled with tears again, and my voice trembled with despair. Did she really not want me anymore? I really wasn't going to leave her. I bowed my head just in time, and my shoulders trembled violently. "Don't cry. Please don't cry." The waitress panicked and ran to get a large crumbling beer can and thrust it into my arms. "Keep it with you. It will keep you company. You're so handsome, he'll surely regret it." I hugged the soft bear, and a wave of exhaustion washed over me. My energy was running out. I had to rest. I secretly set a vibration alarm on my phone for 2 a.m., and then, leaning limply against the bear, I curled up on the couch. I closed my eyes. Just before falling asleep, I prayed he wouldn't wake me up. I don't know how long I slept. Then the waiters woke me up. "Sir, isn't your flight time?" Just then, my phone vibrated loudly, the same alarm I had set. Without wasting a moment, I picked up the phone. I ignored the caller ID and began shouting my memorized lines into the receiver. "I waited for you at the hot pot place for 4 hours. You still won't come. Is that guy really that important? I'm leaving. I'm really leaving. Won't you come see me even once?" I hung up and hid my face in the teddy bear. My shoulders were still shaking. An onlooker would think I was silently crying. The manager paused for a moment, shook his head, and moved on. The waiters, very understandingly, brought me a blanket. I slept all night on that big sofa. Early the next morning, as I was getting ready to leave, the waiter came forward and offered me free sleepovers, milk, rice, and t-shirts. There was encouragement in his eyes for me. "Sir, get a grip on yourself. Leave that woman. You'll find someone better than her. Congratulations on your new beginning." Because I never ordered anything, I didn't have to pay. I quietly mumbled a thank you and walked out the glass door. My energy was fully restored, and the hunger meter was full. A move that was shameless and could only work once, and I had played that card. Soon the game entered its 5th day. As I left the hot pot place, I encountered Wade and his gang. His team had grown to over 20 people. They were all distributing crackers. As soon as I saw their packaging, my mind went blank. These were the same crackers that had disappeared from my hideout. I had deliberately torn a corner of each bag for identification. I rushed towards them angrily. Wade, you stole my crackers. Don't be angry. I asked you to join my team, but you didn't listen to me. Give them back. Look at my teammates. Do you think they want them back? Wade gestured behind him. Over 20 pairs of eyes glittered greedily. I snatched a cracker he offered me and stepped back. Can I still join you? Dear Shiast, it's too late now. I smiled slightly. His face looked so innocent and naive. This game was never meant to be played alone. Players can only survive by forming teams and stealing others' resources. You have no money, no food, and no value left to anyone, so now you can only await your end. Would you like to say something in your defense? Suddenly, the system issued a new directive. Players, welcome to Day 5. To increase the entertainment value of the game, all water dispensers at the airport are being shut down from today. The water in the washrooms is contaminated. Do not use it. The player's anger erupted on the public screen. Your entertainment value is ruined. No water for the next 3 days. You want to kill us? Even Wade's team was in turmoil. The joy of finding food had turned into the fear of thirst. Water is a currency more precious and deadly than food. But Wade was unperturbed. He raised his hand to silence the noise, and there was a pause in his voice. Why are you panicking? It's all water. He glanced at me sideways and continued. The other players have water. Just take it from them. My heart sank, but it was too late to run. More than 20 bloodthirsty eyes targeted me. The crowd pounced on me like hounds. Leave it. It's mine. I frantically tried to grab my backpack, but 4 hands outweighed 2. The bag straps were ripped off and the zipper ripped. 2 heavy water bottles were brutally snatched. My last few sugar packets scattered on the floor, which were immediately snatched. I was pushed to the ground. Wade said coldly, "Not killing you is a huge favor. Get out of here." I staggered to my feet and ran away. Not to escape Wade, but to find water. I had to reach what's called the liquid disposal zone before anyone realized what I was doing. Airport security rules prohibit carrying more than 100 milliliters of liquid. At the security checkpoint, passengers dispose of their water bottles, drinks, and juices in designated trash cans or baskets. At the domestic departure checkpoint, 3 waist-high transparent plastic bins were stacked, some half empty and some filled with unopened bottles. 2 uniformed security assistants, NPCs, were standing nearby. It was impossible to touch those bins openly, as that would trigger a security alert. I couldn't wait any longer. The opportunity was slipping away. I put a look of deep concern on my face and stepped toward the checkpoint. My aim was straight for those disposable bins. "Excuse me, please move a little." My voice was broken and choked with tears. As I entered the middle of the line, the assistant's attention was drawn to me. "Sir, please stay in line." A security assistant stopped me, frowning. "I'm sorry, sir?" "I'm really sorry," I said quickly, nervously pointing to the bins. I think my ring fell there. That's my grandmother's last memento. "Please, let me find it. Just for a moment." Tears welled up in my eyes and I seemed completely genuine. The security assistant hesitated, then stepped aside. "Hurry up. Don't mess up the line." "Thank you very much, sir." I thanked him and pounced on his beans. "I'll move these bags aside a little so no one is bothered." I quietly took out 3 large garbage bags and took them to a place where the security assistant couldn't see me. "Your water will definitely last me 3 days." I quickly emptied 1 bag, filled it with unopened bottles, and quickly slipped away from the checkpoint. My heart was pounding like it would burst. I didn't dare stop there and went into a quiet nearby bathroom and locked the door. I couldn't let the other players know I had so much water. I climbed onto the toilet, removed a ceiling tile, and hid some of it there. Leaving the washroom, I found some more empty space and stashed the remaining bottles. Then I went to the international departure checkpoint and tried the same trick again. There, I found a large stock of water, which I hid in the same manner. This wasn't just greed. My plan was bigger. By the 5th day, only 67 players remained. Wade's team now numbered 25. They roamed the airport like a swarm of locusts, snatching food and water from any player they saw. They wouldn't spare even a small cracker. Anyone who resisted was kicked and punched. The NPC players turned a blind eye to this violence. No security guards came to stop them. Then came the crash. A player collapsed to the floor due to low blood sugar. Within moments, his body stopped moving. Is he dead? Another player asked, eyes filled with terror. The medical team, dressed in white coats, arrived with a stretcher. Quickly, the player was lifted and covered with a white sheet. It all happened in the blink of an eye. The system broadcast blared again. Player 93 eliminated due to energy meter zero, $1 million debt. The broadcast was rife with eliminations today. The numbers were dropping rapidly. I needed a proper alliance now. A team that could take on Wade. Faces from the past few days flashed through my mind, and a few names stood out. A strong group of 6, led by player 48. His other teammates all had their own strengths and were physically strong. I found them in the arrival hall and observed them for a while. They weren't feeling well. One boy's lips were chapped, and another was repeatedly licking his lips. It was clear they were running out of water. This was my chance. I walked over to them with the luxury bag. Hello, my name is Leo. Player 66 ma. I want to join your team. Player 48 stood up and eyed me suspiciously. Get out of here. We're not taking any new people. I handed him the bag. Everyone's eyes lit up when they saw 3 bottles of water inside. I'm telling the truth. I have a safe source of water. I can guarantee water for the team. In return, I'm willing to join you and share food. How much water do you have? Enough for the 7 of us to get through the next 3 days comfortably. There won't be any problem. The cunning player 33 interrupted. His eyes were searching for me. I flatly refused. All you need to know is that I can bring water and am willing to share it with the team. Only I will know where the water is hidden. This is my insurance. Player 48 looked at his teammates and took everyone's consent. Okay, Leo, welcome. I'm Damon. Our team rule is never betray your partner. Damon announced his decision and extended his hand. I nodded. It'll be a pleasure to work with you. The morning of the 6th day brought no hope. Instead, despair deepened. I went alone to the security area to get some more water, but 5 guards were stationed there, their eyes fixed directly on the disposal bins. The system had blocked this access as well. The last available source of water was gone. Players who couldn't bear the thirst of the previous day drank from the bathroom taps. The contaminated water made them sick, and they were eliminated. Then, without warning, the airport broadcast sounded. To speed up eliminations and prepare for the final match, Survival Elimination Mode has been activated. At 12 o'clock tonight, the 20 players with the lowest total scores for hunger, thirst, and energy will be eliminated. Note: 3 emergency supply boxes will randomly appear somewhere within Terminal 3, containing food, water, and some medicine. Their locations will be broadcast only once across the entire map. Public screens immediately erupted in abuse and despair. This crappy system wants to drown us all in debt. We've been used. First they cut off our water supply, and now they've pitted us against each other. How cunning! Everyone, calm down. Going to Terminal 3 is like committing suicide. Panic spread through our team. Wyatt had the most people, so he had the best chance of grabbing the crates. Now only 45 players were left, and Wade alone had 25 of them. This meant that unless the meters of the remaining 20 players miraculously increased, a mass elimination at midnight was certain. We couldn't let Wyatt's men take the crates under any circumstances. Damon's eyes were fixed on me. Leo, tell me how a poor man survives in such difficult times. A poor man's path to survival is never a direct fight. His path is to exploit loopholes, find loopholes, create chaos, and see his advantage in the burning fire. The first emergency supply crate has appeared in the staff break room on level B2 of Terminal 3. As expected, the rumble of footsteps was heard in the distance. Wade's team began to advance towards Terminal 3. Damon prepared to lead our team. Don't let them get there first. I grabbed his hand. The location is the staff break room. Do you know what that place means? I paused. The first crate is definitely a trap. Whoever gets there first will be eliminated. The system has turned off the free water dispensers and posted guards at the trash cans. It's repeatedly enforcing a single, firm rule. NPC rules cannot be broken. Staff areas are forbidden, and ordinary players cannot enter. Any attempt to force entry will be considered illegal by the system, and they will eliminate them immediately. Will Wade send someone to break in? I don't think so. I sent Ethan and Mian to reconnoiter, and they came back and reported back. Wade hadn't actually sent anyone into the restricted zone. Instead, he had divided his team into several groups guarding every path leading to the staff break room. His strategy was to blockade the entrance to prevent anyone from reaching it, even though he didn't want to cause any trouble himself. As long as no one else got the supplies, his team would be at an advantage. Some of the lone players were looking desperate and paranoid. Their meters were surely at their lowest, and their elimination was certain tonight. Such people are the easiest to exploit. I hid behind a pillar and whispered to my team that the key card to the staff break room was inside the fire safety cabinet nearby. Are you telling the truth? Did the system leave it there? Lower your voice. Waite's men are guarding the door. We'll wait for the right moment to snatch the key card. A single player standing in front of the pillar overheard it all. His face lit up as if he'd been given a new lease on life, and he frantically dashed for the fire cabinet. Stop him! Wade ordered, but it was too late. The player flung the glass door open. There was no key card inside. He had triggered the alarm. An ear-splitting fire alarm reverberated throughout the level. Just then, riot control agents, 6 armed guards with tools, arrived like soldiers descended from the sky. Chaos ensued. The guards didn't care who had opened the cabinet. Wade's entire team and the player were grabbed and dragged out. Eliminations began to air one after another. Wade had lost 5 men in the blink of an eye. His team was now down to just 20. The crate lay there, and they found nothing. Just then, the lock on another crate swung open. The second emergency supply crate had appeared at the entrance to the VIP lounge on level L3 of Terminal 3. The VIP lounge entrance usually has a dedicated concierge desk and staff. The atmosphere there is quite high class, and security is extremely tight. We were watching from a distance. The elevator leading to the L3 VIP area was already occupied by waiters. The silver crate gleamed brightly on the lounge's coffee table. What do we do now? We can't even go this time, Mian asked nervously. I extended my phone to Mian. Take it to the lost and found counter. Mian was surprised. Why are you asking me to deposit my belongings there? Just go quickly, I insisted. Mian deposited my phone at Lost and Found. Half an hour later, I arrived there myself with a look of feigned concern. I had lost my phone and a VIP lounge card. While wandering the airport, I even scouted the VIP lounge gates to find food. I'd noticed that everyone entering swiped a black VIP card. It was impossible for someone to have dropped a card at such a large airport. I described my phone and card to the staff. They indeed found my phone and a VIP card. Is this yours? Yes, it is. I excitedly took the phone and card in my hand. Thank you. Wait. You have to prove you're the rightful owner. Marcus distracted a staff member from the side, and I took advantage of the opportunity to unlock the phone with my face and secretly take a photo of the card. After I was done, I showed it to the staff. My face unlocks this phone, and I also have a photo of this VIP card. After everything matched, the staff let me through. I headed straight to the VIP reception area. Coincidentally, a group of passengers was heading to the VIP lounge, and a special shuttle cart was parked there for them. I sat among the passengers, slipping right past the wet guards. I gracefully reached the VIP lounge entrance. The guard took the card, swiped it through the reader, and a green light flashed. Welcome, Platinum member. Please enter. The doors opened. Wade, who had been eyeing the lounge entrance for so long, suddenly shouted, "He must have stolen that card." I cursed him inwardly. This fat bastard is very clever. Damon and our team clashed with Wet's men near the elevator. It wasn't that bad of a fight, 10 against 6. Taking advantage of the chaos, I slipped through the glass doors and snatched the supply crate. The sound of the system sounded like music from heaven. Congratulations to player 66, the crate has been acquired. The items inside can only be used by the players chosen by player 66. Unauthorized possession is void. The third emergency supply crate has appeared above Terminal 3's central information desk. It was a completely open platform. No restricted zones, no traps, no VIP rules, just a straightforward battle of strength and speed. Wade immediately abandoned the fight and led his team to the information desk. The VIP lounge was now unguarded. I came out with the crate. Opening it, I saw it was packed with supplies, enough food and water for the 7 of us for a day. Once all 3 of our meters were full, there was no chance of us being eliminated tonight. Leo, this is because of you. The other players ran towards the third crate, while we stayed there and refueled like mad. For the last crate, Wade abandoned all decency and resorted to open violence. A bloody and brutal battle ensued between the remaining players and Wade's team. In the end, the Wade team prevailed. The 7 of us watched from a safe distance. Damon explained that 1 crate wasn't enough to feed all of Wade's team, and that getting the first crate was extremely difficult. His team was now in trouble. The system's cold countdown was silent. At 11:50 p.m., the atmosphere in the terminal was suffocating. The system countdown begins. Based on the ranking of hunger, thirst, and energy meters, the following 20 players have the lowest scores and are eliminated. The cold electronic sound began to count down imperceptibly. All the solo players, except our team of 7, were eliminated. Even Wade's team was left with only 13 people left because the supplies in 1 crate couldn't be divided equally. As soon as the broadcast ended, the entire airport fell dead silent. With 20 players and a debt of $1 million per player the prize pool had now reached $20 million. If all the remaining players were eliminated, Apple, the final winner, would receive this $20 million key plus an additional $100 million, for a total of $120 million. Such a huge sum was enough to drive anyone crazy. Vait was staring at us from afar, his eyes bloodshot. He licked his lips and told his team, "I don't want us to fight, but we're outnumbered. Let's eliminate these 7 players, and then the 13 of us will split the $120 million among ourselves. That's the safest way." Damon's face was serious as he looked at us. "Everyone, stay calm. Don't fall for the system's tricks. Weld's team will definitely unite to eliminate us, so we can't abandon each other. The 7 of us will eliminate their 13 players and then split the $120 million among ourselves. That's the best way forward." He collapsed on the floor. How? We were outnumbered. We were just sheep to be slaughtered before them. I suggested we find a place to hide and then separate them. I knew a place. The clock struck midnight. A blood-red 24-hour countdown timer began on the screen. The airport lights turned crimson and flashed madly. A piercing alarm sounded, "Ooh," sounding not from a speaker, but directly in our heads. The NPC passengers, staff, and guards we'd seen moments before had all disappeared. Only 20 of us were left in that vast Terminal 3. Run. The desire to escape was stronger than fear. All 7 of us ran quickly. As soon as we entered the elevator, I pressed the door button. Crack! The doors slammed shut in front of Bed's enraged face. "Damn them! Don't let them escape! Finish them off! That money is ours!" The elevator descended rapidly, carrying us toward the underground parking garage. The air smelled of petrol, dust, and humid heat. We all scattered like frightened rats, searching for a hiding place. As soon as we hid, Wade and his gang stormed down the emergency stairs. 20 players were now hiding in the vast garage. As long as I could pass the time, I held on to my hope of survival. I held my breath like a cold stone, staring out through the narrow gap under the car. Red lights flashed frantically. Player 9 had been killed by another player. $1 million transferred to the killer's account. Who? Who killed him? Was it someone from our team? Just then, there were sounds of fighting, and then came Dabby's agonizing scream. Within moments, his elimination was announced. Players scattered throughout the garage, and intermittent screams were heard. The broadcast was broadcasting eliminations one after another. Player 21 was eliminated by his own teammate. The chaos intensified. Suspicion spread like poison through everyone, and trust was completely shattered. Then, an anonymous broadcast came again. Kill Wade now. He's the champion of the previous game. His prize pool is $200 million. Eliminate him and divide the $200 million among yourselves. This message rocked the garage. Is Wade the previous champion? That's why he was becoming so powerful. Damn, we've been used. Wade frantically clarified, "Don't believe this anonymous nonsense. I'm just like you. This is my first game too." But now, no one was willing to believe him. Everyone's sanity collapsed in the face of the $200 million. Kill him. Only then will we know if he's worth $200 million or not. Kill him. Kill him. The battle erupted again. This time, everyone's eyes were bloodshot, and they were fighting like animals for that magical $200 million. I took advantage of the commotion. I found a car with an open door and quietly crept into its trunk. I huddled in the dark space, listening for screams and system broadcasts from the crack in the trunk. Minutes passed. The sounds outside gradually faded until at one point, the entire garage fell silent. I cautiously peeked out of the crack. There was only devastation everywhere. Then a familiar voice echoed. "Leo, Leo, where are you?" It was Damon's voice. "I've caught Wade. Come out. We'll finish this together and divide the $200 million between us." Through the crack, I saw Damon tightly restrain Wade with ropes. I held my breath, not daring to respond. Damon passed right by my car. I had just let out a small sigh of relief when the trunk door slammed open, filling with a bright red light. "So you're hiding here? You've made me look for you. The game of hide-and-seek is over, player Chachat." There was a sickening mockery in Damon's voice. An icy fear gripped my heart. Damon grabbed me tightly and dragged me out of the trunk. "So you two were in cahoots from the start. That so-called manhunt, that rivalry between teams, was all a staged drama. The whole idea was to manipulate the rules and get others to do the dirty work, eliminating every player in your path, leaving only the two of you to split everything between yourselves. You know the rules of this game, inside and out. You sent anonymous messages, inciting players to rob each other and overspend. Then you took advantage of it. You knew the final day would be a massacre, so Weed started building a team from the start, while Damon deliberately presented himself as Weed's enemy. That way, on the final day, the two teams would kill each other, and you both would benefit." A wicked smile appeared on Damon's face. "Leo, you're really smart. Thank you for your help these past few days." Just then, Weed lost his temper and roared, "Demon, untie me now. Why are you wasting time on this? Finish it and figure out your path." Demon gave Weed a cold look. "Should I free you? You're kidding. Instead of splitting $100 million, I'd rather keep it all. And anyway, you earned $200 million in the last round, so that should be mine now." He eliminated Weed in one go. Then Demon taunted, "I forgot to tell you, I sent that last anonymous message." The system broadcast. Player 44 eliminated. Bonus revealed. Player 44 was the previous champion whose total winnings totaled $200 million, which has now been transferred to the hunter's account. Demon was basking in his victory. I suddenly sprayed industrial-strength hairspray directly into Damon's face. A thick, sticky cloud flew straight into his eyes. Damon cried out in pain and stumbled backward, clutching his face. I crawled on my knees to the driver's seat. While I was hiding, I had made sure that not only the trunk of this car was open, but the driver's door was also open, and the key was in the ignition. "Player 66, Damon roared, I won't leave you alive." Ignoring the pain, he pounced on me like a wounded lion. His dagger grazed my head and dug into the leather driver's seat. My fingers grabbed the cold key and turned it hard. The engine roared. I immediately shifted into gear and pressed my right foot hard on the accelerator. Damon hadn't expected the car to suddenly move. The force of the impact sent his body flying into the air and crashing to the ground, but he still tried to crawl back up. I reversed the car and crushed him. Moments later, the system delivered its final verdict. Player 48 eliminated, bonus revealed. Player 48 was the previous champion with total winnings of $180 million, which have now been transferred to the hunter's account. Congratulations, Player 66. You survived to the end and have become the sole champion of this round of Airport Smuggle. Player 66's winnings for this round were $120 million, plus $200 million, plus $180 million, for a total of $500 million. I struggled to get out of the driver's seat. Covered in dust and oil, there was no joy, only bone-deep fatigue and the numbness of a survivor. The red lights slowly dimmed. The alarms went silent. There was a flash of white light, and I was back in the void where the game began. The system whispered in my ear, "You now have $500 million. Enjoy yourself." But according to the rules, champions are not allowed to quit. If you quit, you'll owe $500 million. The white light slowly disappeared. People stood around me, their eyes wide open, looking around in shock and confusion. The system's voice echoed, "Welcome to the game of the poor. Hey bro, you 100 players. Starting amount, $50. Goal, survive 7 days. The winner will receive a $1 million prize." So the video ends here. As I said, this time I've created an animated Manua Explain. If you guys like it, let's set a small target, 2,000 likes and 200 comments. Some people might wonder why I set a target. The reason is simply that it gives me a little motivation and lets me know that you guys want more videos like this. And to those who have already liked and commented, Enia.
Thank you. Love you. Forever.